Hello everyone, once again and welcome back to my channel. My name is Chinny of the Let's Style Glam. If this is your first time on my channel, thank you so much for being here. You are welcome to la bienvenue and masino non. And if you already subscribed to my channel, thank you so much. You are all welcome. Thank you so much. Now today I'm going to be talking about a topic which I actually broached a little bit in my previous video when I talked about accents, and I said and I promised I was going to talk about how to teach your kids how to learn a language for those of you who live in diaspora. Now this has spurred on, like I said, all this started with Dimma Ome's video, and I took up on accents, and then while on Twitter, which I'm going to try to fix some of the conversations we had on Twitter. While on Twitter, we got talking, and a lot of things, we have found out that, like I said in the previous video, while I didn't want to go through the ethnic route, I found out that a lot of things had been going, south, in the Igbo ethnic group, if I must say, when it comes to language learning. Now, I am not saying that this is to every Igbo person out there, and I'm not saying that this is how every Igbo is, but I think the effect is more on my ethnic group, because I am Igbo. Now I would also want to implore you that if you're also someone who is learning a new language, this is also important for you. You could also get you could also practice some of the tips I'm going to give you in this video concerning language learning, or how to be able to speak and be fluent in a language that is not yours or is new to you. Now, if you recall, also in my previous video, I also talked about the fact that I am a language consultant. It doesn't leave you, it just stays with you. So yeah, and I know I'm not practicing for the moment, but it is something I actually slip into very easily. With companies, I do certain small jobs with companies from time to time when it comes to languages. Now, I'm going to start first of all with the beginning or the history of this. Now, like I said in my previous video, which I'm going to link in this video here, I talked about the fact that I was a victim of not being able to speak my language, being Igbo, my ethnic mother tongue. Why? Because I went to a school that was run by the white missionary at the time, and I recall at the age of 4 already I was perfectly bilingual. That meant I speak Yoruba and Igbo. Now one day while at school, it happened that I spoke Yoruba to someone at school, and then the school authorities, the headmistress, heard, and it became a big deal. My parents were called, and we were asked, and they were asked, oh, what's the language they speak at home, blah 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 blah. I'm telling you this for a fact. I spoke Yoruba, Igbo. I speak both languages very well. Now fast forward over the years, it became that we could not speak any languages at home. We couldn't speak Igbo or Yoruba, nothing. We were only to speak English. Now we were all raised speaking English. Now coming from a school where the headmistress is white, and like a quarter of the teachers are also white, we began to put fune inside our English. Now is that to say that my parents were doing the right thing? I'm coming with the full gist. Now as we began to grow, or as time went on, we found out, by getting close, of course, like Igbos, we always have the Igbo meetings, Igbo unions and stuff. And I always heard this a lot. So umuge married to Igbo. So umuge ide asuru umuge Igbo no. I'm going to put the meaning here. So ide asuru umuge Igbo no. Umuge married to Igbo. Ha. And this was something that we heard a lot growing up amongst our fellow Igbo brothers, our townspeople, our village people at the time. Now, by the time we were in secondary school, my parents began to understand and feel, the negativity, the whole harm that this was causing us. Because imagine, and the truth about it was that we didn't really know a lot of people, well, we knew our townspeople, but when it came to expressing ourselves in Igbo, or Igbo proverbs were being used, we were lost, you know. But that was not to say that I couldn't understand when it was spoken, but I just could not speak. And you know, when you speak to me, I'll reply you in English. Then my parents took a drastic step, and they said, okay, that we were all going to go to university in Igbo land. So I went to Enugu State University. My sister went to ABSU. We all were forced to go to universities in the East. And I will tell you guys, that was the turning point of my life. And I will repeat this story as many times as I would, or as many times as you guys would want me to repeat this story. In upcoming videos of this nature, I would gladly repeat it, because there are so many things that happened. I can't say everything right now, but there are so many things that happened in the course of my life while I was in Enugu at the time. And like I said, that was the turning point of my life. And I learned my lesson from that. And for me, you know, I told myself, it was a vow I made. I said, I will not make this mistake with my children. I knew I was not going to do it. And from then on, I decided, you know, when you have a brain reset, and I began to think of the fact that I must marry an Igbo man, you know, because then I was quite fluid, you know, but immediately, you know, I got this ideology in my head. You know, I began to program myself about getting married to an Igbo man, you know, that kind of a thing, so that my children will be, you know, that kind of thing. So I was in this programming, you know, I had begun to program myself in this direction. Suffice to say that, yes, my programming worked, because, you know, yes, my husband is Igbo. I'm married to an Igbo man, and not just any type of Igbo man. I'm married to an Igbo man from the core land of Ali Igbo, which is in Abia State. My husband is from Ohafia local government, Ikpuru. So, you know, and I recall the first time he was speaking to me, and you know, I recall I was trying, you know, so hard. I really wanted to understand what he was saying, and you know, he used to explain to me what he's saying, because he speaks to me in his dialect. My husband doesn't speak to me in Central Igbo, because we have Central Igbo and we have dialects. So my husband doesn't speak to me in Central Igbo. He speaks to me in his dialect, which, you know, I would say today that I'm so proud to, you know, be able to understand and speak. Now the children started coming. Our baby came, and you know, that was where we began our struggle. Now, mind you, if for those of you who don't know, I live in France. The French people are very, very attached to their language. Their language is their culture, is the form of identity for a Frenchman. So in every point of time, or at every point of time in their lives, you see them pushing the French language to you as a foreigner. Whether you are 35, 60, 100 years, they will tell you you must speak French. It's part of the integration process. Well, I didn't see anything wrong with it. I was very, very happy about it, and I took it upon myself. But then you have kids. The kids go to school, and then, you know, in that mix, the children are taught in French. They are not taught in any other language. It's French. So one of the reasons I took out my time, and I told myself that I was not going to allow my child go to school, or no, start, you know, he used to, no, not to go to school, but start creche super early, because I wanted the language that he got accustomed to, you know, come from the home, not any other place. So and although I wasn't working also at the time, but I made it a point, I deliberately made sure that, you know, he wasn't always present at the creche, you know, all the time, you know, of course, but I still had time on my hands. So what did I do, or what did my husband and I do to help us transition and make our child be able to speak Igbo today? And he's actually trilingual. He speaks English. I said it in the previous video. He speaks English, Igbo, and French. Okay? Any other language he's going to learn now is going to be on his own, probably when he gets to, you know, as he goes, you know, as he grows up. Given the opportunity, of course, I would love to teach, or I would love to learn, or I would love to teach him other languages. So what did we do? Even now at the moment at home, I infuse Yoruba, but they understand, but they don't speak it with me. My husband doesn't they don't speak it with me, but they understand what I'm trying to say. So what did we do? The first thing I'm going to tell you, so these are my tips, and I'm sure it's going to help you. So these are the tips I'm going to tell you for parents who have kids who live in diaspora and you're looking for how to get your kids to be able to speak your mother tongue, your ethnic language, or your ethnic dialect. Now, like I said, between my husband and I, we are both from the same ethnic region. That's Igbo land. So I would say that it was the perfect mix, in the sense that since I speak English, my husband speaks Igbo perfectly. So we took it upon ourselves that one person speaks one language and the other speaks another language. So my husband is in the Igbo speaking department while I'm in the English speaking department, which means he speaks Igbo exclusively with our son and I speak English exclusively with him. Now, understand this, kids are very, very smart, because they're going to come at you and they're going to tempt you and they're going to push you. And most times we as parents, just because we want our kids to let us be, we always fall to their trap, not understanding that they are also playing the same, they are also tired of this thing you are trying to get them to do. So I put down a few pointers here. So like I said in the beginning, choose who speaks what. So like my husband speaks Igbo, I speak English. Now if you are a family of two different ethnic groups, for example, your husband is Yoruba and your wife is Igbo, or Hausa Yoruba, whichever dynamic. Now, depending on the country you're in, if you live in England, it's not a big deal. Don't worry yourself, don't fret it. The one person begins to speak one particular language with the children and the other person speaks the other language with the kids. Forget about, will my child be able to learn, the language of the country you're in? Because yes, they will learn it. Why? Because it is their environment. They are going to speak the language. At school, they are going to speak it. When they get, and listen, a lot of the things with people, what people don't understand is, you see, learning a language, especially with kids, their brains are like sponges. They soak in everything. So while you're busy worrying about your child's brain, there is nothing wrong with your child's brain. In fact, that you're able to speak many languages. I'm trying to put a little French while I'm speaking, I'm sorry. While you're able to speak a lot of languages, it's actually a very good exercise for your brain. Yeah, it helps in Alzheimer's and cerebral palsy and all those diseases that come with brain diseases. So being able to speak more than one language is actually a very, very good way to exercise your brain. So don't mix it. Now, why I say this is because a lot of we parents, like I said in the beginning, a lot of we parents, we fall into the trap our children have set for us, thinking that, oh, I just want to be free. But the thing is that the children also are doing the same thing. They want to be free. So what do? They come back and now speak that language that is not spoken in the house, because it's a language that they know at school. It's a language that they communicate with their friends and their teachers. My son did it. From the first day he started school, of course, I told the teacher, I said, oh, he only speaks English and Igbo. And she was like, okay, don't worry. I speak, don't worry, I speak, English. I said, okay, no problem, madam, the table is all yours. Well, suffice to say, my son came back that afternoon from school speaking French. And he tried it with my husband. My husband was like, what are you saying? And he goes out in this French. My husband said, listen, I don't understand a word of what you're saying. It's either you speak to me in Igbo or we forget about it. Of course, as children, he kept on trying. He came to me the same format and I said, listen, if you're not speaking to me in English, I'm sorry, I am biting, So when he understood that mom and dad were not budging on this, because the thing about kids is that when they understand that mommy and daddy are united in a decision, they know that they can't go far. They know that they just have to drop it. There's no point, because they are together in this. But if both of you are not together in this, if mommy and daddy are not together in this, that's where the problem is. Because if mom is doing one and dad is doing the other, it's gonna totally break down. You can't make it happen. So stick to it. Don't move. Don't mix it. When I say don't mix it, that means do not come speaking English with your child, or Igbo or Yoruba or Hausa with your kids, and then you now decide that you want to now speak Yoruba when you speak Igbo, or you speak Hausa when you speak Yoruba. Don't do it. Don't mix anything. Or you decide, okay, since my child is speaking to me in French, okay, I will answer in. Don't do it. Because the moment you do it, you break the pattern. The brain already has begun to understand. Our brain, the child's brain, even yours, mine, has begun to understand that, you know, it's like your brain is being divided into 3 different parts, you see? And then, you know, you are picking, at the time it's time for you to speak French, you go. It's automatic. Why? Because you have begun to train your brain in that direction. The same way with your kids. You train their brains in that direction, everything is going to go siriri werere. Now, the next thing, which I also spoke about in the other video, but I didn't talk about it extensively. I didn't speak about it extensively, is forming your ethnic group or union like we Igbos do in diaspora. Anywhere you go to, anywhere in the world, we Igbos tend to always connect and reconnect, no matter where we are from. So I would encourage you as parents, do not falter in this responsibility, because you may think that your children will not find or derive pleasure in it. I won't tell you what the ones here are doing. They are ecstatic with it. They want to be part of the meetings. They want to be part of everything that is going on. My son does not eat pepper in the house, but when he goes to Obi-Wan, that's the name of our group here, he wants to eat nkwobi. He wants to eat abacha. He wants to eat everything. But at home, Mama, I don't eat pepper. That is what I hear every day. Mommy, I don't want pepper. I don't eat pepper. You know, but once we get there, it's a totally, he becomes an Igbo man. Now, my husband, on his last trip, he got this Isiago, their outfit. That is my son's favorite outfit till date. I recall when we first started our exercise, my sister sent me, you know, lovely sets of, you know, traditional outfits for my son. And he was like, no, mommy, this is ugly. I said, don't worry. We will soon know what is ugly and what is fine. Now, he left it for years and he didn't wear it. Fast forward, about 2-3 years later, you know, we had this Obi-Wan thing come up. And then he saw, you know, I recall he wore his sweater and his jeans and he, you know, he felt like the odd one out. And it was like, why is he wearing this? You know, he came back and was like, Mama, I want to wear my traditional. I said, but he's small now, you know. So do not fail to make them be a part of the union. Let them, for them, it's about being together. They are listening, they are connecting, and they are reconnecting. Like it or not, I asked them, I said, if you need to see them, they are so excited when they come for their Igbo classes. Yes, we have Igbo classes here for the kids. They're excited about it, they have fun with it, they are always, you know, making fun. They sing in Igbo, they, you know, this is the way you get your kids reconnected with whom they really are. Because the truth about it is that they know they are not from these parts. They know that mommy and daddy don't come from these parts. They know that this is not where they, you know, they originated from. They come at you with this question, so why are we here? Where are you from? How, you know, because they notice there are a lot of different things with you that is not the same with all those people. And you know, when they notice those things, they are still wondering. There are questions that they have not been able to answer for them. So when you're able to put them in these groups, when you're able to make them part of this, you know, your ethnic groups in diaspora, you have succeeded in making a very, very long journey extremely short. Yes. This is a fact, and I'm telling you guys this. Now, the next point I'm going to talk about is always stick to the rules. Don't say, oh, because today, no. Stick to the rules of the language at home. Which means, I recall when, let me give you an example. I recall when my son, when he was at school, one of his teachers told me, I said, is it possible I can speak, est-ce que c'est possible que vous pouvez parler français avec votre enfant? No, I cannot speak French with my child. Why? It's not my language. It's not my father tongue. It's not my mother tongue. I have no business with the language except that I use it to speak, communicate, and work. You see? Good. So I cannot. I have my own language to teach my Pekin, which is Igbo, and so she comes and says, oh, but he's lacking behind. I said, then that means you're failing in your job. That's what I told the teacher. I said, then you're not doing your job well. If you cannot speak French, it's on you. It's not on me. Luckily, we got to another school because we moved and we, put him in another school. And this time, the director of the school was able to take out the time and the patience. She really wanted to understand the dynamics of the home. And then she calls me and my husband and she says, this. His French is this. And I'm like, okay. And then she was asking, so how do we do this? And I'm like, we don't speak French at home. And she was like, okay. I'm like, no, French doesn't come home. We drop French at school. At home, we stick to Igbo and English. And she was like, wow, that's amazing. That's really good. So you see, because she took her time to understand the dynamics. And this dynamics, it works. Stick to the rules. It's just like rules of engagement. They have rules. Stick to them. So stick to those rules and everything is going to work out. And then for the first time she says, wow, c'est un richesse, hein, ce que vous faites. That means, I'm going to write it in English, sorry, that it's very, very rich what we're doing. It's something of quality what we're doing. That this is extremely amazing. She was like, this is amazing. That is what they should be doing, in French schools. I don't know what to say. Okay, now, so sticking to the rules and let it be the language spoken at home. These are two things, they're intertwined. So stick to the rules, keep the language at home, don't mix it, don't come speaking whatever language of your country. Don't speak Finnish with your kids at home. No. Don't speak French with your kids at home. No. Don't speak German, Dutch, whatever. Stick with your language of origin. Ever wondered how come the Maghrebans and the Arabs, how they do it? It's the same thing. They don't speak any other language than Arabic at home. They don't speak they stick to it. We keep on wondering, they come out, they become extremely wealthy people, but when they are with their own, they are speaking their language of origin, their ethnic language. Stick to it, don't move, ne bouge pas, don't move it, don't change it at all. Now, the next one, which it happened to me, and that's why I put it out as a point. Do not get complexed about the language you're speaking with your child in public. Yes. Now, like I said in the beginning of this video, French people have this very strong affinity to their language. So when they hear you speaking a language that they cannot understand, that is not French, they ask you, which in my opinion is very impolite and is rude, I can't understand what you're saying. Will you speak in French? There was a lady that did that to me one day and I said, I'm not speaking to you. I'm sorry. I'm speaking to somebody else. Yes, that's how So it's very easy to get complex about the language that you're speaking with your own. Rise above it. Yes, rise above it. Because this is your child. I think we all are Nigerians and we all have passed through this mommy and daddy's, especially mother's, way of training kids, that your mom will look at you only. They just look at you and you get the message. We have all been there. We are all products of that. And then, when you're in a situation whereby you can actually speak to your child in a language every other person cannot understand, but you and the child, you find out that your life just became 100 times easier, 100% easier. So don't be complex about it. And if somebody asks you, This is what I always say. If somebody asks you, like I told the woman, if somebody asks you, what are you saying? What are you speaking? It's none of your business. I am not talking to you. It's rude, in my opinion. Okay? I'm not talking to you. It's none of your business. Walk away. It's a different thing if you're with this person and you know you guys are having a conversation. All right? And then you know you are obliged to stick to the language you guys are. But as long as you're not having a conversation with this person, I'm sorry. You know. Then the last point, which I am going to, yes, is get them acquainted with their history. Like I said in the beginning of this video as well, how my parents forced us to go to the East to study. And like in one of the things I learned and got to, you know, help me was history. I became very attached to who I was or who I am, my history, everything. Your language, if you don't know, is your identity. So you need to understand and know and get acquainted with your history. And this is one of the things that we do. I do, my husband does, and also in the Igbo community, this is what we do. We show them these things. We talk to them about these things. Of course, we are here, they cannot see, but you know, imagine when you tell them all these things and they say, okay, so when we go to Nigeria, can we see it? Of course we can. You see, because you have to create the thirst for it. You have to make them hunger for it. If you cannot make them hunger for it, then they're not going to hunger for it. So you have to make them hunger for it. Bring it to their doorstep. Okay? When you travel, when you go back to Nigeria, come back, bring them those things that connects them more and more. Like I told you, my husband, when he traveled, you know, and I'm so happy for my sister-in-law. She made the most beautiful outfits for my son. She also, my husband now got the Isiago and the Okwago, you know. He got all those things for him. My son keeps it like a treasure. And you know, he's already asking, he needs more, he needs more, he needs more. You've got to connect them. You have to be able to make them, connect them to these roots that you are proud of. Because when they see that you are proud of it, listen, they will join the bandwagon. I was speaking to a lady one day and, you know, we're talking about this. It's a combined effort. If mommy and daddy are not ready to give themselves to this course, if you're not ready to be committed to this, because you may think, after all, you may say, oh, but after all, it's my child now. I could have said that, after all, my child speaks Igbo, what's my business? No, it's a community. If you may do on your own part, but you are still missing out on something that is very vital. I am an Igbo coach. I coach them too. You see? But then at the end of the day, it's everyone's hands on deck. When these kids come together, when we are not there, I'm telling you this for a fact. I'm sorry, like I said in the last video, I said it also, and I'm going to apologize again. The memory card I took was very, very little, so I could not record a lot of things. These kids, when they come together, it's like they've never seen, you know, but they all live in different parts of, you know, the city. They don't see each other all the time. But when they get to see each other, it's as if they never left. You know, an incident happened. Let me give you guys just a little tip on an incident happened. My son lost his pair of glasses. And one of the kids found it. One of our own found it. And then she brought it to me and said, oh, auntie, oh, baby, these are his glasses. And I'm like, okay, thank you. And you know, just in passing and as a joke, I said, oh, I have a reason to spank someone. You know what she did? She went and she now said, and because I said, don't tell him, I have a reason to spank someone. You know what she did? She went back and told him, said, listen, your mother said I shouldn't tell you, but I found your glasses. And, you know, I asked him, you know, and thinking that, you know, what I had said was, you know, and had been, you know, I was sure of what you know, of the message I passed across. I now came back. We came back from the barbecue. I asked my son, I said, where are your glasses? He was like, it's with you. You know, for like 5 seconds, I was like, something happened here. And I was like, she told you, right? They're like, yeah, she told me, you know. They began to form a bond of brotherhood. So on this note, guys, I'm going to leave you. Feel free to give me all the questions that you need to ask on this. I'm ready for you. I'm here for you. I'm going to give you all the answers, all the responses that you need concerning being able to teach your children or your language, your ethnic language in diaspora. I'm here for you. I'm going to help. I'm here to help. I'm going to have another video coming up as well on language and identity, so you guys should look out for that video, because that one is going to be pretty long. I don't know if I should do it as a live, or maybe I should do it as a live on Insta. I don't know, I'm not sure yet, because I want a situation whereby we are able to interact in that particular in this particular video. So I'm thinking about what I'm going to do, if I'm going to make it a YouTube video or, you know, a live video. But whichever be the case, be on the lookout for that video on language and identity. And when I speak about language and identity, I'm talking about all spheres. I'm talking about all ethnic groups. And I want to still use this opportunity to repeat again what I said in my previous video, that you are who you are. There is no other you. So when you remain unique in whom you are, you remain unique in your identity, you remain unique in whom you are, that is where your value lies. All right. So on this note, guys, I'm going to leave you, and I'm going to say thank you so much for being a part of this video. Please do not fail to like, share, subscribe to this. Do not fail to share this video. Do not fail to subscribe to my channel and hit the push notification so that anytime I upload a video, you get first-hand information, you know. So on this note, guys, je vous aime très fort. I love you guys. Thank you so much for your support. Thank you all so much for being a part of this family, and see you pretty soon. Bye.